We like to think that we're rational beings, beings who are influenced by the sway of the evidence, by logic. We don't like to think that we believe in irrational things. That's not us. What we believe in is perfectly clear, perfectly reasonable, and common sense. But we're not like that at all. We use logic to justify our beliefs, to justify our notions. Even scientists who have had their pet theory debunked or disproved find it very hard to let go. They'll look around for whatever evidence they can garner to bolster their discredited theories. It's a very rare person who can let go of their cherished beliefs in the face of the facts. Normally we use our intellect, we use logic, we use the language of reason to justify our feelings. Logic, intellect, is driven by emotion. And emotions are a roller coaster. It's quite extraordinary we've got to where we are in one piece and not blown ourselves to bits. So in putting across the teachings of self-enquiry of the Yoga Vasishta, we must be very careful that we're not doing this in an intellectual sense. Self-enquiry, it sounds so nice and clear. Inquiry, neutral. We're not promoting a belief, we're just looking into the facts. Physical reality is notional. Well, that sounds like an interesting proposition. Well, it may be an interesting proposition, but if that's how we're regarding it, then we're just playing a game. We're just playing a mind game. Unless we can follow through deep into the emotional roller coaster, deep into our sense of being, then we're just amusing ourselves, keeping ourselves amused on occasion. It's this sense of being which is the measure of our understanding. This sense of being which is not being diverted or distracted by the everyday distractions. It's this sense of being which is not being caught up in the emotional roller coaster. And this is how we can check our progress in being established in self-knowledge, our spiritual progress. To what extent are we established in a sense of being? And this is a profound sense of being which has got nothing negative about it. It's when the attention is no longer being hijacked. It's when we're no longer collapsing into our moods. The moods can still be happening, but they're like the itchy spot. We don't scratch them, we don't indulge them. We see that they come and go. No matter how uncomfortable they might be, no matter how pleasurable they might be, we don't go willingly to the party. We're in a state of dispassion. Vasishta continued, O Celestial, give up thinking of the objects of this world appearance as being the manifestation of the infinite consciousness. We don't want to get caught up in this dichotomy, well, there's my sense of being here, and there's all this stuff out there tempting me away. So in order to get over that possibility, it's quite good to see everything as an expression of the infinite consciousness. But even that technique is making a distinction, and we can move beyond that. We're asked to remain in the pure self. Remain in the pure self. So we're not even getting caught up in thinking about manifestation, about the manifestation of the infinite consciousness. We remain in the pure self. This is the practical realization. The practical realization that you're at home in yourself. You're at home in the world. You're at home in the universe. You're not being shaken by anything. Why should you be? You've been brought into this world, into this universe. You have every right to be at home in it. There are terrible things happening. But is that any reason to get into a fluster? To feel anxious? We do what needs to be done. We don't need to whip ourselves up into some frenzy, into some roller coaster ride of emotions. It's like taking to a nice new big house that you've been given. And you think it's great. It's very comfortable. You like the decor. Everything seems to work fine. But then somebody comes along and points out all the problems, all the things that need to be done to this house, how the decor doesn't change, how certain things don't work. Well, you were perfectly happy before this person came along, but now you feel obliged to do something about all the apparent faults. We've lost our sense of ease. So remain in the pure self. This is the realization of the teaching of self-enquiry. Inertia arises in consciousness because of its own manifestation, though such inertia seems to be dissimilar to consciousness. And what it means by inertia is the property of being inert. Some things seem lifeless, some seem to have life. Some things seem to be solid as opposed to our thoughts and feelings, which seem to be insubstantial. So the solid things, the inert things, seem to be quite different to consciousness, although they clearly arise in consciousness. Just as the same wind that fans the fire can also put it out, the same consciousness promotes consciousness as well as inertia. Hence, let your consciousness of your awakened intelligence realize that the ego sense, I, is not, and then be what you are. This is how you can remain in the pure self. You're not remaining in notions of yourself. You are exercising your right to be totally at home in yourself. Then your consciousness merges in consciousness absolute, without giving rise to the object of consciousness, that is Brahman, which is incomparable. Your consciousness is simply resting in consciousness.